up and I will follow up.
Okay. That's wonderful, Tachia. The slides were given to the class governor yesterday. Look at the slides and you can call me on any area you don't understand and we'll talk. Is that okay? And then, thank you. So Evans, last person, last man standing. Let's hear you, Evans. Woolbis Dapar. Yes, Evans. Evans, can we hear you? Okay. Evans is unable to talk with us. Okay. So
you can unmute yourself, Evan. You can unmute yourself now.
Yes, unmute yourself, Evans. Huh?
Right now. Good afternoon, Prof.
Yes, bless you.
Just regarding since the earth, we have inherited and we are supposed to sustain it for the next future generation. And based on the global map of yesterday, where the south and then the north and
global
the south.
North, yeah.
And looking at the north, for me, I think they are the people that depleted most of the resources of the earth. But we at the south are the receiving end, and we are asked to sustain it. I feel like we are being cheated by the north.
Yes.
That's the effort that are being put in place, but the way the resources of the earth are being depleted by the forces in the north is massive, and we are at the receiving end, even though we also have our own part to play too. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Evans, for your contribution. And that is so, so true. God bless you for your contributions. And we will go on. Host, you can now mute everyone. If you have a question, remember it's an interaction. If you have a question, put up your hand, even during the lecture. Is that okay? And then I can call you to talk if it's a convenient time. Otherwise, we'll wait till the end. Is that okay? So let's dig in. What do we have?
You can unmute now.
Yes, I have unmuted now. Yes, I have unmuted. So, like I said, today we are talking about, look at it, sustainable development theories and practices. But I wanted us to go a step behind to talk about what is development. Look at what is development there. Did you see it at the bottom of that page 2? What is development? Can anyone tell us? Unmute yourself and tell us what development is. Let the rest of us write in the chat box. What do you think development is? When you say development, what do you mean? 1, 2, go. Your time starts now. Write it and then someone unmute yourself and tell us what is development. Quickly. Any bold one, any confident person? Host, have you muted everyone? Please let someone talk to us. I think course rep, the class governor wants to talk to us. I see something like that. Is class governor talking to us or someone else? Yes, write in the chat box. What do you think? What is development to you? Of course, it has to be to you. What is
someone
development?
Just raise your hand up and you'll be unmuted to speak.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, class governor. So, development is a persistence in growth. Thank you, Dogara. Gigin. George Akanyi says development is a shift from an initial position to another. He says it may be positive or negative. I like that. Negative development. Interesting. George Akanyi. Thank you. Omojo Odo. Development is the process of change in economics and lifestyle. Wow. I'm liking this. Development is growth, progress. Thank you. The process of maximizing the resources of the earth. Wonderful. Now, we know what, now that is good. We now know what development is. Thank you. Thank you. Progress. You can see the words are coming. Advancement in quality of life and all of that. So at least we now know, we have an idea of what we think we mean when we are talking of development. Now, we have said some words were recurring, like progress, like growth. You know, George says it could be positive or negative, isn't it? So we will just go on now to look at a general definition of development. Generally, you can see I'm using some of the words you used. Development is defined as a process that causes growth, progress, positive change. That's why I was excited by George Akanyi's definition. He said that development can be positive or negative. If it is negative, it's not development too. Can you see that now? So positive change is what is known as development. Okay? So the addition of physical, economic, environmental, social, and demographic components to an existing system is what we know as development. Now, one thing we should know is that this, whatever definition of development we have now, it has evolved from purely economic growth to encompass the social aspect, political aspect, and environmental aspects. Like in the early 21st century, development was defined in economic terms so that it would just be, you know, when you are talking of development, you are talking of GDP, the gross domestic product. It was purely economic. And I think somebody in the chat box said development was economic growth, okay? That was in the early 20th century, not now. It was measured by gross domestic product. That's if your GDP, if the GDP of a country is increasing, then you say the country is developing. If it's decreasing, you say it's not developing. I mean, it's retrogressing. But if it's static, you say it's not developing. And the focus was on the transformation of underdeveloped countries into developed ones. You can see I put that in quotes because those terms are kind of relative. And that follows the model of Western industrialized nations. Okay? Now, that perspective is known as the modernization theory. And that theory assumed that all societies will eventually follow the same path and become prosperous and become, you know, and reach a level of progress. All societies. But by mid-20th century, that definition began to change because the dependency theory emerged. And that dependency theory argues that economic growth of developed countries would sometimes come at the expense of the underdeveloped ones. Are you reading me? Can you understand what I'm saying? That somebody will be eating sour grapes and another person's teeth will be on edge. That developed countries will be doing well, but underdeveloped ones will be suffering. And that creates a cycle of dependency and underdevelopment. Do you get the point? That means if country A is helping country B to develop, so to say, it's bringing development to country B inevitably becomes dependent, solely dependent on country A, such that it leads to underdevelopment. That is the problem with, you know, the initial understanding and definition of development. Now, this led to a shift in understanding development, not just as economic growth, but also of social justice and equality. Now, talking about this dependency theory, I don't know how many of us have read this book. How many of us have read the book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney? If you have not read it, note it down. Read, oh, I always tell my students in chemistry, don't say because you're a science student, you don't have time to read books. If you are a science student, that's the more reason why you should read books, not just your textbooks, but books about the earth, books about things, contemporary things happening around you. You know, if you are not informed, then you are deformed. You are totally deformed if you are not informed. The fact that you are walking with two legs, you have two eyes, you can see, you can dance, and all of that, you are deformed if you are not informed. So read books. Go and read How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. That is what this argument is all about. That underdeveloped countries were being, you know, that's developing countries were being underdeveloped by the so-called rich ones. And that was not okay. So by the late 20th century, the definition of development expanded further to include political aspects. So that if you're talking of developing countries, you are talking of the concept of good governance. So that democratic institutions. If there was no democracy in a country, you would say, oh, that country is not developed at all. But you and I know that democracy is not an index of development. So where there is no rule of law, where human rights are not preserved, then there is no development. That, is covered by the concept of good governance. So this particular stand, this definition of development was a response to the recognition that political structures and processes play a crucial role in determining a country's development trajectory. In other words, the kind of structures you have in a country, whether political or social, would tell us whether you are developed or not. In fact, now we talk of the Happy People's Index, HPI. That means it's not just that you have good roads, you have pipe-borne water, you have electricity 24/7. Are you happy as a citizen of that country? That is what will determine whether or not that country is developed. What is the percentage of happy people? What is the HPI, Happy People's Index? We will come to that with time. Then, of course, Gididim sustainable development came on board. Of course, if I ask you, we even talked about sustainable development yesterday. Sustainable development is the development of today. It meets the needs of today without jeopardizing tomorrow. You can say it in your own words, say it in vernacular. But when development takes place today and it does not jeopardize our tomorrow, it does not, mortgage the future of our children, then that development is sustainable development. Why does sustainable development matter in Nigeria? We have a population of more than 230 million. That's according to the 2024 estimates. But out of this, 35%, more than 35% of Nigerians live below the poverty line. And desertification is affecting about 43% of Nigerians. Now, if you look at this pie chart on the right here, you see the land use, you can see the land use. 77% of this is agriculture, okay? And then forests and others. Let's go on. So what do we say? How did this sustainable development definition, how did it come about? It's also something that evolved with time as well. In 1987, the Brundtland definition. Yesterday, I think it was Tewase that was talking about, the Copenhagen, interaction, Now, in 1987, the Brundtland definition of sustainable development was at the World Commission on Environment and Development. In that document called Our Common Future. And that is very popular one that I know that, 100 level students, if you tap them, they will tell you development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That is sustainable development. 100 level students of environmental sustainability, they can give you this definition, from the courses they took, last year. All right. Now, there are 3 pillars of sustainable development, as we know: economic, social, and environmental. Okay? The 3. Now, when you talk of economic, of course, and social and environmental, those things are inextricably intertwined, if you ask me. Look at it. If you look at this Venn diagram, I still remember that this is called a Venn diagram in our secondary school maths. The social, pillar talks about the quality of life, education, community development, and all of that. Then the economic, research and development spending, cost of living, cost savings, that's economic. Then environmental has to do with resource management, okay? And environmental protection, habitat restoration and preservation. So this Brundtland report, outlined the development of human resources in the form of extreme poverty reduction, global gender equity, and wealth distribution. The World Bank has 2 overarching aims, or objectives rather, is to reduce poverty. They use the word reduce poverty, and then ensure shared prosperity. Reduce poverty, ensure shared prosperity. I know that many people in the capitalist world that we live in, many people do not want to share their prosperity. So this is an example of the intertwining of these three areas, the three pillars. If a man in a given geographical area lacks a job, that means he has economic issues, isn't it? Economic challenges. He's likely to be poor and disenfranchised. That is social. If someone is poor and is disenfranchised, that is a social problem. If he's poor, he has an incentive to engage in practices that harm ecology. If he's poor, he will cut down trees for firewood to cook his meals and warm his home. That is environmental. You know, I heard a story of how, you know, these manholes on the roads, on the tarred roads in cities, they are covered by metal. People have gone to remove them. Even in Abuja, they remove them, iron condemn. They go and melt them and sell to make money. Now, are you going to quarrel with that man? He's poor. He has 4 children to pay school fees for. There is a school of thought that says you cannot quarrel with that man. No. Even though what he has removed, that iron he has removed, that covering, people can fall in the night and have fractures. People have fallen in, you know, without knowing, and they have fractured. Some have even died. So these are some of the issues. As his actions are aggregated with those of others in his region, cutting down trees, deforestation will cause vital minerals to be lost from the soil. That's also environmental. If vital minerals are lost, the inhabitants will be deprived of the dietary nutrients required to sustain the intellectual performance needed to learn new technologies. For example, how to operate a computer. And this will cause productivity to reduce or stagnate. That's economic. If productivity stagnates, economic, poor people will remain poor or poorer, social, and the cycle continues. Now, that is interesting. You could develop stories like this to show the fact that the 3 areas, the 3 pillars of sustainable development are inextricably intertwined. You cannot separate one from the other. So, the historical evolution before 1992, it was a resource conservation focus. Okay? It was an emphasis on preserving natural resources for future generations, protect wildlife, manage forests, don't eat cows, don't eat animals, don't kill rats. You know, in Britain, when I got to Britain for the first time in 2008, I was so shocked. Through my window, you know, in my hostel, I stayed in the international hostel the first 6 months. Through my window, I'll see in the grass there, I'll see squirrels moving around, jumping around, playing in the grass. I say, hi, look at meat, seafood, though. You dare touch that squirrel, you are deported. In fact, they will first of all imprison you before they deport you. They said those squirrels belong to the Queen of England. You don't touch them. Resource conservation. If you are traveling at night, you avoid killing animals that are crossing the road. Though. You know, you see one, you just go and crush it and carry it and put in your boots. That means somebody has soaked Gary for you from the village and the prison is calling you. Out there, they respect and they preserve, you know, wildlife. Then between 1972 and 1987, environmental awakening came. That was the Stockholm Convention. Okay? It was in Stockholm and the first world conference to make the environment a major issue. And that Stockholm, you know, convention, there were 26 principles in that declaration. Okay? The action plan contained 3 major categories. Global EA program, that's then environmental management activities and international measures. So it was after that Stockholm conference that the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, was created. That was a landmark of the Stockholm Convention. Then from 1987 to the present, that's the integrated development, the Brundtland report, which we talked about before. The Brundtland report at the Rio Summit, Rio de Janeiro, okay, in Brazil, of 1992. That is what significantly shaped the concept of integrated development, emphasizing sustainable development as a crucial approach to balancing environmental protection. So that formed the title, you know, it was formally titled Our Common Future, and that is what introduced the core definition of sustainable development. Let's look at the key milestones of this timeline, which we have just discussed. I have itemized them for us here. And of course, the these eight objectives that are written from 1 to 8. Write in the chat box if you know what these were all about. Huh? Those were the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals. You know, it was from the MDGs that we graduated to the SDGs. Because at the end of that millennium, we just advised ourselves. Nigerians, we say we borrowed ourselves sense. And we saw that we could not achieve these MDGs. So we now, what's the word now? Moved up. We graduated. That's the word I'm looking for. We graduated to the Millennium and Sustainable Development Goal, SDGs. Remember yesterday I said you should know this. You should have them at your fingertips. Know them like the back of your hand and be able to state what is what, which one is which. You can write it, paste it in front of your reading table, okay? So that you learn it. That was how we learned times table when we were in secondary school. I mean, in primary school, okay? So sustainable development theories has evolved over decades. There are so many academic discussions and environmental discussions on it. So we're talking, we said in this module, we'll look at the theory of sustainable development. But there is no single unified theory. Let me not lie to you. You read some documents, you will say, oh, wow, this is it. You read another, you say, oh, no, this is that, you know. But there are several key theoretical frameworks and models, and we'll look at some of them in this, our meeting today, to understand and implement sustainability goals. So let's look at this next slide, which gives an overview of some sustainable development theories. Okay, so there are these theories are on the left-hand side of the table: the 3 pillars model, the weak versus strong sustainability, the ecological modernization, and then the middle column talks about the core idea. Ecological modernization, for example, says that encourage green growth. The core idea was green growth through innovation, and the key focus was industrial policy reform. Continue down, you have the environmental justice, capability approach, systems theory, donut economics, post-development, and degrowth. Okay? And of course, there are individual alternative localized models of some of these theories and models, 1,001 models of these things. So what's our level of commitment to the SDGs? You know, what should worry us is our commitment. What's our level of commitment to the SDG agenda? When I'm talking of I'm talking about Nigeria, you and I, we are the Nigerians, okay? You know, sometimes when the pastor is preaching or the imam is preaching in the mosque, you will say, you'll be looking at your neighbor. They are talking about my neighbor. No way, apply it to yourself. Think of yourself. Why don't you think that it is you that the imam is talking to? Why don't you think that the pastor is referring to you? So what is our level of commitment to the SDG agenda? Presently, there are many ideas. We can write a thesis on this. We can write, pages. A lot, in fact, academics have talked, and in fact, some of them have exchanged blows, I'm sure, on our level of commitment to the SDG agenda. But they do not explain the attitudes and various dispositions towards the SD agenda. And it is these attitudes that interests us in this course. So let's look at some theories of sustainable development that explain the attitudes and various dispositions of Nigerians towards the SD agenda, sustainable development agenda. So like we are saying, no theory is perfect, but they are a good starting point from which a set of relationships, and interrelationships can be established. So let's look at these attitudes, the theories that, talk about the attitudes of Nigerians to some of the environmental issues that we have around. So this is a presentation of some theories of sustainable development that explains the attitudes and various dispositions towards the sustainable development agenda. And there are 5 of them. The first one is extinction avoidance theory. Then you have the collective stewardship theory. I'm sure you're beginning to think what these things mean already. Then the rogue agent, that one makes me laugh. It's funny. And then divine intervention and providence theory. Then the sustainability philosophy theory. Okay? At the bottom of each slide, some of these slides, you see the sources, where these things, I obtained them from. They were not given to me by my mother. You can also access them and look at them. Is that okay? So let's look at the first one, extinction avoidance theory. That theory, the concept of that theory is that human survival depends on preserving life-supporting systems, and that environmental degradation hastens human extinction, which is true. If you live in a place that is very dirty, you will catch diseases now. And epidemics, cholera, everything. And what happens? Death, of course. So environmental degradation hastens human extinction. That's what that theory says. So you have to avoid extinction by not allowing your environment to degrade. So this focuses on preventing the extinction of species and ecosystems. Okay? Now, this extinction avoidance theory is primarily linked to SDG 15, life on land, 14, life below water, and 13, climate action. Is that okay? Now, for the Nigerian, let's look at the Nigerian example. These are global theories. The Nigerian example is that, Lake Chad, at the top right-hand corner of the map of Nigeria, Chad, the Chad Basin, okay? Lake Chad is shrinking. That's the news, bad news. It's shrinking from 25,000 kilometers squared in 1963 to 1,350 kilometers squared today. This was in 2024. You can imagine the percentage. It's shrinking. It's disappearing. Maybe that is even why salt has become very expensive. Okay? Because it's from the lake, from those places that salt is crystallized. And that threatens 30 million livelihoods. Because like I said, if you look at the bottom right of this slide, see the Lake Chad Basin in 1963, all the places covered by blue. Then look at it in 1973, about 50% had gone. Then look at it in 1987, only the blue places remaining in those 3 spots. And in 2006, look at what is remaining. Wow. That is frightening, if you ask me. Now, look at the endangered species too. We are talking about the extinction theory. The number of endangered species by region in Nigeria. This was the 2023 estimate. Look at the South-South. Number of endangered species is highest in the South-South and lowest in the Northeast. But I'm surprised that the one of the North-Central is like midway, compared to that of South-South. Because, yes, you can quote me anywhere. We eat a lot of meat in North-Central. So I'm surprised that the endangered species is not the highest in the North-Central. There is a story. Don't quote me. In fact, quote me if you like. There is a story, yes, that there was a zoo that was established in North Central. I don't know the state too, but if you force me, I will tell you that they say it was in Benue State. If you force me to talk, that there was a zoo there, but that my people ate all the meat, all the animals in the zoo, and that was how the zoo, just disappeared. I would like some people who know to tell me during the Q&A session whether what I heard is true, so that I will continue saying it, so that if I'm wrong, I will stop saying it. Is that okay? We need to know whether it's true that there was a zoo that was established, but all the animals were eaten by my people. Yes, so let's go to the second theory, the collective stewardship theory. This theory, the concept is that everyone, including governments, communities, corporations, that we all share responsibility for sustainable development. Okay? But the example is this. There was a time, the Loma, the Lagos State Waste Management Authority had a community partnership model. It was not only Loma. It was all over the country. I think we had environmental sanitation every Saturday. I think every last Saturday of the month. Even though now, they don't allow people to move around, but nobody does any sanitation anymore. You understand? People are now paying lip service to it. So collective stewardship, you and I, we can do it. We don't have to wait for government. It's now like NGOs and faith-based organizations, community, groups that will come out and come and do some cleaning. Then look at IPES. I think the next slide talks about IPES. Oh no, the next slide is about our university. We do a lot of community stewardship. I believe in that stewardship theory, that you and I can make a change. That is, this page talks about students of the American Chemical Society. We are in front of the gate there. That's me on the left, and Dr. Mike Yohemba, my colleague in chemistry. I am the faculty advisor of American Chemical Society, our campus chapter. And we do a lot of enlightenment campaigns. We had the chemistry festival where we were talking about sustainable practices for planetary protection. These are things close to my heart. I galvanize students to come out. Let's go, talk to people. We were at the convocation square at the top right there, talking to students. They were waiting for lecture. We just, came in upon them and talked to them. We entered the markets. Bottom left, we were talking to women about plastic, reduction in plastic waste. This woman on the bottom right, I gave her a hug that day. She was very vocal. We recorded, we said, Madam, can we record you? She said, yes. We were talking to her about plastic reduction. She said it's customers, so they will buy one tiny thing. They say, Madam, put on for leather. This one, put on for nylon. Leather is even wrong to call it leather. Leather is animal skin, but we're talking about polythene, plastics. The woman said it is customers that are causing it. Now, can I tell you, these are examples we need to desensitize people from using plastics. Carry your own bag. When I enter the market and I go with my own bag, it's a green bag because I don't want to, dirty the environment. They want to put something in the polythene. I say, Madam, don't worry, keep your polythene. I can't be preaching every day. They say, Madam, thank you, because I've saved her some money. Because she buys the polythene very expensive. I collect my stuff and put in my bag and go. She's happy, I am happy, the environment is happy. These are the little things that you and I do. You and I need to begin to do. Not that you buy matches or you buy, what is it now? Put on for leather. You are contributing to environmental degradation by your insisting to use plastics. One thing about plastics, when you talk about, plastic reduction, we talk about 3 R's, isn't it? Reduce, reuse, recycle. There is a 4th R, refuse. Refuse it. When people give it to you, refuse. I will not take. Like Anthony has shared with us, Anthony Adam, the first person to talk to us today. He said he's refusing sachet water now. Refuse, oh, my people. We have only one earth. Only one earth. One earth. I'm talking to the Nasarawa State civil servants next week by God's grace. They've invited me to come and talk to them about unethical use of agrochemicals. And I titled it One Earth, Many Voices. We have only one earth. If we mess it up, we don't have another earth to go to. So let's look at what IPES is also doing. These are environmental sustainability students. So that's our head of department in the middle there, in the middle of the banner, the head of Department of Environmental Sustainability. That was on World Environment Day 2025. I will not tell you what day is World Environment Day. You go and find out as ENS, MSC students. So what are you doing, my dear brothers, my dear children, my dear daughters and sons, my friends and colleagues in ENS, MSC? What are you doing as part of your collective stewardship to safeguard our environment and therefore safeguard our lives and the lives of our children? We need to do something. Then the rogue agent theory. I told you this one amuses me. The concept of this is that environmental degradation occurs due to irresponsible action by individuals, organizations, or states acting outside environmental norms. For example, illegal oil bunkering. We believe that it is those thieves that do it. Artisanal refineries and artisanal mining causing massive pollution, not just in the Niger Delta. In fact, one of my master's students, his project is on artisanal mining in, I think, Kwande local government area of Benue State, and the kind of trouble artisanal mining is causing there. People just come and start mining things. There is no regulation. Government just turns a blind eye. They don't bother to see what is going on. then urban sand mining causing big erosion all over the place. So these are oil production versus oil theft losses in Nigeria. That map, you can look at it when you get the slides. And this is about oil spillage volumes in the South-South. Then the fourth theory talks about divine intervention and providence theory. You know, Nigerians, if the way we pray is if it is directly, proportional to our character, if it is directly correlated, we will all be saints. But we go to church, we go to mosque. Every street, there will be at least 7 churches. But when it comes to character, what to do when nobody's looking, then we are different people. So this divine intervention and providence theory is that one that the core concept is that nature's balance is ultimately maintained by divine will. It's God, oh. It's God that is doing it. Erosion comes, you say it is God, oh. And flood comes, it is God. It's a lie. You are the one who has blocked the drain with your refuse. Then water must, when rain falls, water must pass. So it will now pass and enter your house. Then you say it's the devil that has caused it. It's not devil. It's not God. It is your act. It is anthropogenous activities. And these people, this concept believes that, that human acts, must align with spiritual or moral codes. For example, there are sacred forests in Osun. I know that there is somebody in this class who is from Osogbo. If you have been to that sacred forest in Osogbo, please write in the chat. Have you been there? Our dear classmate from Osogbo. If you've not been there, at least write if you know about it. Tell us a little bit about it. Spiritual grounds. So indigenous beliefs that trees and rivers are dwelling places for deities. We just believe the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So if the earth is the Lord's own, he's the only one that can look after it. It's not my business. So I just do things carelessly. Wow. That attitude is an attitude that is very unhealthy. Yes, the Lord gave you the earth. God gave you the earth, but you must maintain it. It's just like saying, God has created you. So this is your body. You will just carry knife and be cutting it, or you see trailer, you go and stand. That means death is calling you. So the earth is the Lord's indeed, and the fullness thereof. Okay? But you should look after the earth. In fact, when you look after the earth, you are praising God who created the earth. That's my own thinking. I mean, you might correct me. Then the fifth theory is that affects our attitude is the sustainability philosophy theory. And that has the concept that sustainable development is a moral and ethical obligation to future generations, balancing economy, society, and environment. You will see that all these theories we are talking about, I'm sure a number of them will resonate with you. You will be able to say, yes, I agree with this, I agree with this, I agree with 2, 3, 4, or maybe all, or maybe there's one you don't agree with. I would like to know about that in the chat. I would look at the chat, at a point here. Okay, now the SDG 1, for example, the status for SDG 1, we are on track. Poverty reduction, isn't it? SDG 13, what does that one say? Can you write what it says in the chat? SDG 13. Huh? Can you tell us? Me, I don't like this one that people are muted. We cannot talk when we want to. So let's look at comparative analysis of these theories. The extinction avoidance theory focuses on human survival, okay? And everyone is involved. So I've written here the theory, the focus, the actors involved, the strength, and then the limitation of each of these theories. Like for the rogue agent theory, that the focus is that there are deviant actors. The people involved are the individuals or organizations. It pinpoints accountability, that's the strength. But the limitation is that it can be often reactive, okay? And all of that. So you can look at the table and, be able to talk about the ethically robust and future-oriented one. So this is the time for us to visit our chat box. Which sustainability theory, which as the sustainable development theory, do you think best explains which one do you think best explains let me go back to the slide. Yes. Let's go back. Let's see what we're talking about. Which one do you think best explains the global response to climate change? Which one best explains the global response to climate change? Climate change policies like the Paris Agreement. Write in the chat box. I'm going to open the chat box now. Which sustainable development theory do you think best explains the global response to climate change policies like the Paris Agreement? Is it the extinction avoidance theory? Is it the collective stewardship theory? Is it the rogue agent theory or the divine intervention and providence theory? That's there is a global response, not just Nigeria now. But if you want to talk about Nigeria, fine. Nigeria is part of the globe. Which of these theories actually explains the global response to climate change policies, like the Paris agreement? Have you started writing? Yes. Okay. George says it's collective stewardship theory, and Julius Musa. Okay. Jessica says B. B is popular. Wange says theory B. Wow. Okay. It's like there's a collective stewardship. Wow. Ikure Branchy Angle is also saying collective. I hope you are not going with the crowd just like that too. Can I give you a story? There's a place where I go walking. When somebody says extension avoidance theory, and are you saying it just to be different? Aku Salihu Nasir, collective responsibility. That's collective stewardship. Now, there's a place where I go to take a walk. It's on the road. You know, when we were in primary school, we're taught that you should walk when you are walking. If you are trekking on foot, face the direction of the oncoming vehicle. That's the safe thing to do. That's walk on the side of the road where you are facing the oncoming vehicle. If you are a parent here and you have not taught your child that, teach them today. If they are walking, they should not walk and let oncoming vehicles be coming from their back. That's wrong. Walk and face the oncoming vehicle. So I discovered that almost in fact, everybody, but let's say 90% of the people walk in the wrong direction. That's they walk and the oncoming vehicle is behind them. And it is wrong. So one man stopped me one day and said, madam, why is it that everybody is going this way? You are facing the wrong direction. And I told him, I said, my brother, this is what we were taught in primary school, that you should walk facing the oncoming vehicle. So if you ask me, at the risk of sounding immodest, sir, I added sir, so that the man will not beat me. I say, you are the one that is wrong. You are facing the wrong side of the road. Oncoming traffic is behind you. It's wrong. You are endangering your life. So what I'm trying to say is that some people join the crowd to do the bad thing. You know, the head instinct. You just do it because everybody is doing it. So, yes, walk against traffic flow. Yes, that's what we're taught in primary school. Walk against, that's face the oncoming vehicle. That is what we were taught. But people will be backing the oncoming vehicle and then endangering their lives. Thank you. So it's like there is a unanimous, the majority are saying that it is a collective stewardship theory. Paris Agreement. Okay, let's go. Vox populi e vox Dei. That's Latin for the voice of the people is the voice of God most of the time. So let us believe that this is what is happening. Okay, so let us look at the barriers to sustainable development in Nigeria. I'm tempted to unmute all of us so that we talk. What are the barriers? But I have listed some here. Financial constraints, governance and policy gaps. We'll talk about this when we eventually unmute ourselves. Okay. So what I want to hear you talk, what are the barriers to sustainable development in Nigeria? I would like us to talk about it in a few minutes time. Now we are entering conclusion and class discussion now. Okay. But before then, I'm going to give you an assignment, group assignments. Okay? Meanwhile, let's look at the summary of what we've been talking about. All 5 theories offer unique insights for Nigeria's environmental sustainability strategy. It combines philosophy, governance, tradition, and accountability. Now, this is the question these are the questions we're going to ask. And answer. Which theory is most relevant, for solving Nigeria's plastic waste crisis? There's a crisis of plastic waste. We'll look at which theory can help us solve it. Now, is it possible? That's another question. Can traditional beliefs, these are the questions we'll be talking about. Can traditional beliefs, be harmonized with modern environmental practices? Can traditional beliefs be harmonized with modern environmental policies? These are some of the things. I'll ask them again when we get to the point of discussion. So, the group assignments. Hello, everyone. If you're hearing me, say hi, write hi in the chat box. If you're hearing me, because I need your attention. We are only 105 in the class today. Hey, that means about 80 people don't want to write my exam. Okay. Attendance is taken. I've been telling you from the back end, I get the attendance. If you don't have 75 to 80% attendance, you cannot write my own exam. Take it to the bank and keep it there. It will happen. Even the VC cannot get into the exam hall because he knows he's the one who made the rule. So attendance is critical. Okay? So let's look at the case study assignments, group assignments. So if your surname, I'm going to group the class into 3. If your surname starts with the alphabets A to I, if your surname is alphabet A to I, like Anthony Ada, I think his surname is Ada, so he will do case study I. Jessica Dazan, we do case study 1. So any surname that is between A to I, you will do case study 1. Then, if your surname, not first name, if your surname is between letters J to R, JKLMNOPQR, inclusive, your assignment is case study 2. Is that okay? Then if your surname falls between, it starts with letters between S to Z, then your assignment, the group assignment, is case study 3. So what you will do, surnames A to I, you must come together and do the work. Of course, you know that coming together doesn't mean you are traveling from Oshogbo to Kaduna. No. You come together, form your WhatsApp group, do however you want to do it. Microsoft Teams, WhatsApp group, Zoom, there are, Slack, there are many apps you can use to come together. Do your assignment together. Then you elect a group leader, and then one person will present for each of these 3 groups to the class. Me, I talked yesterday, I'm talking today. When you're going to present on Friday, is it Thursday or Friday? We'll agree on the date. All right? You are the ones to now talk. You make your presentation of the case of the group assignment. So you have a group leader, you will elect a presenter. Group work. Part of environmental sustainability is that we learn to work in teams. Is that okay?
Yes.
So we will talk about that. I'll give you the case studies now. Yes, I like the several highs that I'm getting. Okay, so that means you're with me. Somebody is writing Francis Yotimbi. CR will create the groupings for us, ma. It's not, that's not his job. You come together. I am creating the groups. You don't tell me that CR will create the group. I have created the group. So no, CR is not changing it. A to I, case study 1, J to R, case study 2, S to Z, case study 3. Now, so let's look at the case studies. Now, case study 1.
CR was raising his hand up.
Okay. Can I finish this, please?
Yes,
CR, okay, you have the floor. CR, talk.
okay. Sorry, I wanted to quickly add that we already have 2 groups, other even application number that were already adopted for other lecture.
Me, I want 3 groups. You
Okay.
have 3. You have 2.
Okay.
Huh? What's the criterion you used for those 2
It
groups?
was basically those that your application number ends with odd number and those that yours end with even number. That was how we were able to distribute ourselves into the 2 groups.
2 will be too large. I want 3.
Okay, ma'am.
Because you're supposed to be 185, isn't it? Or 190?
Yeah, 196 thereabout.
196. No. In fact, I'm thinking 3 groups is too small.
No,
We
but
should make...
not all. Okay.
What? I can
Okay,
hear you.
196. Not all are very active though.
No, it's not about very active. Those ones we fail now. Okay, so let's have 3 groups, please. Okay? Because
Okay, ma'am.
today we have 105. Today we have 105. That means each group will now be 51 or 50. Okay, 50. 52.5. There will be 0.5 man. Okay. Class governor, are you saying we should work with 2 groups?
Yes, ma'am. We should adopt
All right.
the already existing 2 groups.
Say yes, please. Say yes, please. Say yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, learn to say please. All right?
I was going to say please at the end.
No. You said it many times. You've said yes. You said let's adopt the 2 groups. Don't argue, please. If you're wrong, just accept it. Take responsibility for your actions. Okay. So I'm asking you the question again, class governor.
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you proposing that we should use 2 groups?
Yes, please, ma'am.
That's better.
Thank you, ma'am.
You should learn. Now, I have 3 case studies. What are we going to do with the 3rd? Why is there an echo here? Class rep, please switch off. Maybe it's you now. There's no more echo. I hope you're not hearing any echo. Okay, fine. If you're not hearing, so case study 1 is renewable energy expansion. And the example is Kenya's Lake Turkana. Kenya's Lake Turkana wind farm. Okay? So that's case study 1. And case study 2 is a community water project. The example is Nigeria's Water Rate Initiative. So that means we are doing only case study 1 for group 1. How did you label the groups? Is it group 1 and 2, or did you have names for them?
Yeah, it's group. Yes, please. It's group 1 and group 2.
No, we will call the groups gold. Group 1 is now gold, group gold.
Yeah.
And the second one is platinum.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Gold and platinum. So you said gold is odd number or even?
The even numbers. Application
Even number.
number.
That's your group
If
1.
your application number ends with an even number,
then that is group 1. So that's group gold. Even number end.
Yes, ma'am.
Application number. So the odd number ending of application number, you have platinum. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So gold and platinum. Gold is case study 1. That's renewable energy expansion using the Kenya's Lake Turkana wind farm. Then platinum is case study 2, community water projects. That's Nigeria's Water Rate Initiative. Okay? Now, let's look at the questions for the case studies. So for each case study, what was the central problem or challenge addressed in the case study? And what factors contributed to it? The purpose of this is that you clearly identify the core issue and understand the contextual drivers, social, economic, environmental, political, or a mixture of them. Okay, identify each of the drivers, each social driver, economic drivers, environmental, and political. Okay. Then the second question for each case studies: what strategies, interventions, or actions were implemented, and how effective were they in achieving the intended outcomes? In other words, there was a problem. So what was the strategy? Okay? And how effective were they in achieving the intended outcomes? Okay? That means you're talking about the responses, their design, the execution, and the degree to which they met the objectives. Okay? Like if we're talking about leaking roof, okay? And then you change the roof from thatch to zinc, okay? Or aluminum long span. To what effect, to what degree was it still leaking and all of that? Then question 3, what lessons can be learned from this case study for similar contexts or future sustainable development initiatives? So the purpose here is that you're going to extract transferable insights, best practices, and then cautionary points, the challenges, okay, that others can apply or avoid, the pitfalls. Is that okay? So you will see them, you look at them, study them when you get these slides. And at this point, I want to say thank you very much. So can we have ourselves unmuted? Let's lift up our hands so that we can now talk and have our discussion. The first question, like I said, is what are the barriers to sustainable development in Nigeria? We'll use 2 minutes on that and 2 minutes on the other discussion. So kindly make your contributions very brief. Is that okay? Thank you for the claps. Thank you for the thumbs up. I am grateful. So I think we should unmute ourselves now, or put up your hands. Put up your hands and be unmuted. Okay? Thank you for the flowers. I can see flowers. I can see thumbs up. I can see heart emojis. I can see claps. Okay, 3 people have put up their hands. So the first person to put up his hand is George Akanyi. You have the floor, please. George, you have the floor. After George, you have Adole. Good evening, George.
Thank you very much for an insightful lecture. I really enjoyed myself here and I'm learning. Even though I'm coming from statistics background, I'm having a very good lecture here.
Thank God.
I want to, first of all, ask this question before I withdraw my answer to yours. When I answered about the definition of development, you said it has to be positive change. Now, we studied environmental impact assessment, where we had a case study that some fishermen in their profession, they could earn up to $32 per day. Now,
can you speak louder so I'll hear you better?
Okay,
my volume is at 100, but I'm straining to hear you. Sorry.
When development actually came to them, industries were built and they were told to be hired at $3.2 per day as against 32 that they were earning per day. How was this development to them? Now, back to your question. In the case of Nigeria,
that is, they were earning 22 against what?
32. They were earning $32 per day.
Okay.
In their occupation of fishermen.
Okay.
And then when this place was taken away, factories were built, and they were now being promised $3 per day.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Go ahead. I
Now,
get it now.
the case of Nigeria is corruption and politics. On paper, we have the laws. We have everything there. We can read, we can see it online. But then these policies are not being implemented and then being monitored. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you so much. How Europe underdeveloped Africa. That's it. Read it. It's underdevelopment. That's why this course is here. By the end of this course, you will see really. We will have a debate. Should we actually allow development to continue? Or should we say, no, we are not interested. Leave us alone. So, Adole Onyawoyi Deborah.
Good evening, ma.
Onyawoyilo Deborah, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, ma. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good
Bless you.
evening.
Go on.
I would like to say one of the barriers from the question, ma. One of the barriers I think is governance and policy gaps.
Okay.
There's this inconsistency of keeping or implementing policies when it comes to sustainable development in Nigeria. Most times when another administration comes in, there's a total change from what the previous administration intended to do. So maybe to close up this gap, we should have like a master plan. Like, okay, let me give an example. When it comes to infrastructure, there should be an infrastructural master plan where it should be a law such that when another government is coming in or another administration is coming in, they'll just carry up from where was stopped. I don't know if we're getting it, ma.
Yeah, we're getting
Yeah,
you.
so
I'm getting you.
that's one of the contributions, ma. Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much, Onyawoyilo. You know, you're right, this thing. You know, a governor is doing something. And when his tenure ends, even if that thing is wonderful, the next governor comes in just to antagonize the previous person. He cancels it, he pulls it down, he starts a new thing. How bad? But what you're saying is it makes sense. Like there are national priorities, okay? At the national level is there. National priorities, like the current one we are implementing now, is 2024 to 2026 to 2030, okay, for the national. So your point is valid that we should have that at state level, we should have that at local government level, because then the leaders, when they come, they will now have to continue with that agenda. That's a wonderful one. Thank you. Clap for Adole Onyawoyilo Deborah. Yes.
Thank you,
Richard, you have the floor. Richard Ioka. Richard, you have the floor. Adole Deborah, you lower your hand. Bring down your hand, please. Okay. If Richard is not ready, can we have Kula Godwin Aunduhumba? Godwin Aunduhumba. If you're not ready, Taylor Isaiah Kate. Haba now, talk now. Unmute yourselves and talk. Adoga Terry Edache. Anyone of the people I've mentioned can talk. Or you've changed your mind.
Okay. Good evening, ma. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, ma.
Thank you. Who is speaking? Is it one of the four? What's your name?
My name is Adoga Terry from Abuja.
Are you Adoga or Adoga?
Adoga Terry Edache from
Adoga.
Abuja.
So why are you anglicizing your name? Go ahead.
Okay, ma. I think one of the core barriers to sustainable development in Nigeria is our legal structures. Our laws are not biting. They are paper bulldogs. They are not working. And another key factor, again, is illiteracy. The level of education, the illiteracy index is very high, particularly in the northern region. And it's also a threat to sustainability, as well as poverty.
Okay, thank you. You said our laws are not working. I beg to differ, sir. The laws are there. It is the implementation and compliance, enforcement that is the problem. The laws are there. Do you get it? The laws are there and they are working. They are not enforced. That is the problem. Okay. Then illiteracy. Illiteracy is everywhere. For you to say in the northern part is stereotyping. We don't make such statements. Okay. In a heterogeneous group like this, because if I'm from the north and you say that my people are illiterate, we will meet outside the class and box and slug it out. You understand? Illiteracy is high everywhere in Nigeria. So that's correct. But you don't have to be literate to abide by the laws. Can I tell you why? Because there are codes, there are diagrams. If you go to a place and you want to ease yourself, you see male, just diagram. You don't have to be able to read female. Just you see a woman in the dress and you see a male form. So there are signages. So illiteracy, I don't think it's such a big problem. Poverty, yes. But illiteracy can be a problem, but it's not so. That's why the National Orientation Agency is there. You can go and tell people that are illiterate, enlighten them. Like I went on enlightenment campaign into the market, talking to them about agrochemical use. I went to Jaws, I went to Macaulay markets, you understand? So, and then you can do jingles on radio. You can make people comply. So it is not, these are not the problems per se. It is the governance, like Onyawoilo said. It is the governance. We are not enforcing the laws that we made. Do you get the point? So that is Wange's hand is up. And I think the last person will be Wange. Thank you. And then Omojo. Yes. Wange and then Omojo will be the last. And then we close. Thank you. Make it brief.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Thank you for the wonderful lectures. I think one of the problems we are having that is causing us sustainable growth and development is rapid population growth. Because Nigeria population
rapid population growth. I think that is taken. Yeah. Okay. So what do you prefer? What is the solution? Wange, how many children do you have? Talk to us.
I have 2.
You have 2?
Yes.
So you want everybody to be told to have 2 children, isn't it?
I'm not finished yet. The second one is deforestation and unsustainable agricultural practices.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for those points. Let someone else give us. Thank you so much for your. So can we now talk about our second question? Which theory is most relevant for solving Nigeria's plastic waste crisis? There's a plastic waste crisis. Which of these theories is most relevant for solving it? We had those theories that affect our attitudes. Which of the theories would help us? Okay, I think we're not willing to talk. The class governor is talking. I think we should end it. I think he wants to tell us to end it.
No, ma. Please.
Your hand is up.
No, it's not to say class to end. I wanted to speak into the first, some of the barriers too.
No, if we are done with the barriers, we are now at which theory is most relevant for solving Nigeria's plastic waste crisis? Kosref, you brought down your hand. Odaudu Mordecai, you have the floor. Ose Anyiman.
Yes.
Please, you have the floor. Network,
Good evening, ma. I was muted by the host.
Oh, sorry.
So I think it's a collective stewardship theory.
Okay.
Because for us, I think if we all understand the challenge and we accept that this is a challenge for us as a country and as a people, I think it's better for us to come together to develop strategies in dealing with the issue. So if we come together as a people, it should be easier, and we understand the problem, it should be easier for us to solve it. It's not just an individual doing the work.
Thank you, Ose. But you know, collective stewardship doesn't mean we must come together. Collective stewardship means you do your bit, I do my bit, wherever you are. Like if you manage the waste to generate plastic, for example. If you refuse to use plastic, I refuse. We don't have to come together to refuse together. Refuse where you are, I refuse where I am. I dispose it properly where I am. You dispose your own properly where you are. That is collective responsibility. Each of us working towards the same goal, even if we are not at the same geographical location. That is collective responsibility. Do you get it?
Surely, man. So if we all understand the problem and work towards solving it, then it certainly will end the challenge.
So I think since with the people that are supposed to do it are not doing it, you and I can do it. Okay?
Definitely.
Yes, Tachia Tefa, your hand is up again. Thank you, Ose. Man, that was good. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Tachia. Oh, Tachia has network issues, maybe. Okay, Ose, your hand is still up. Okay, I think at this point, we will now, we will now call it a day. And Odaudu Modica, your hand is up again. So that's the last person.
Thank you, Ma, for the wonderful lectures. So my little contribution, steward theory is important because even the law and policies and environmental sources depend on people taking responsibility. So if individuals and communities actively care for their surroundings, plastic waste can be reduced more effectively.
Wow.
Yes, Ma, that is my little contribution.
Your contribution is big, it's not little. Thank you so much for that contribution. We can do it together. We are better together. We are stronger together. Okay? And if we brighten the corner where we are, then everything will become very good. So can we put on our cameras and let the course rep take photos for the class library? Yes. Put on your cameras and let's take photos for the class library. We are having a library. At the end, if we discover that your face does not show at any point, then we'll know what to do with you. But what we will do, you might not like it, so make sure your face is showing. Course rep, when you're done, let's know so that we'll stop smiling. We are smiling for the photographs. Course rep, host, unmute us now. Are we now mute forever? Unmute us so the class is over. We are taking photos.
Okay, I'm on it. I'm taking the shot, sir.
No, it's not you. I'm saying because the host should unmute us. We are muted. The whole class should be unmuted. Yes.
People have refused to on their camera, but it's fine.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. But you're taking photos of the names, eh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Take photos. If you are not putting on your camera, you're disobeying the class governor. You are liable to prosecution. You are liable to prosecution. Tiohemba Emmanuel, your camera is not on. Eh? Okay, I'm calling names now of people that their cameras are not on. Which Matthew has suddenly put on his own. Dofa Miriam, yes, your camera is on. Omojo. Ogumola Muhammad, put on your camera. Hey. Okay. Dogara's own is on. Class governor, when you're done, let me know. I'm your policeman. I'm your policewoman, getting them to put on their cameras. Eh?
Better.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm
Or
on
down
it.
the Mordecai. Adoga Patience. Kwana Apev. Kwana Moses. Farida Abbas, your camera is not on. All right. Okay. It's a crime to leave the class before the end. We are now 96. Are you done?
Yes, I've taken quite a number of shots.
All right. Thank you. You have to be populating the class library. Okay. Thank you, class governor. We are grateful. So at this point, I want to say thank you. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. We're going to do module 3, and honestly, it will be at 4 p.m. again. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful lecture.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, ma.
Camera off.
Mm.